Okay, we're gonna restart the Egyptian campaign, this time with the simple version of it, because the advanced version with the naval rules basically is like 90% likely to not make it out to sea. I don't see how the hidden naval rules as expressed in the campaign game actually help. It would help if there had been two fleets. It would be a 50-50 chance that Nelson intercepts the correct fleet. It doesn't seem worth replaying from that. Let's get to here with easier victory conditions, etc. Not have to worry about that. If you want the introduction to the scenario, that is in the naval failure video that I'm uploading right now. This one's going to focus just on the ground game. And it's not going to be terribly interesting, but there are, I don't know, it lets me cover the ground battles in War and Pieces. Yeah, that's my unofficial nickname for the game and always has been. Mainly because, as I pointed out another time, it was the game that I had for a fair amount of time that had the most pieces. I don't think that's the case anymore. This one has less, but there was just a huge amount of counters for me, back in the 80s or whatever. What do they say? More than 1,000. I certainly have games that have more than that now, but, compared to things like Third Reich, which were fairly complex comparatively, War and Peace had a lot of counters. And I don't know when I hit the more counters. It could have been Terrible Swift Sword. That has a fair amount to it. Probably actually SFB, simply because of, the amount of expansions and whatnot that I had on that. I think that probably beat it out. But then, I don't know. You don't use most of the counters. It's not like they're all in play at any one time. Games like the Azure Wish stuff, I think La Grande Guerre has somewhere around 4,000. I don't know what the OCS games have, but it sort of stopped being a thing. But I always called this game War and Pieces because of all the pieces and because, it fits the name. All right. I'll be back up later to start the actual ground game. My battery did not charge. But I'm here more to talk about personal stuff right now. I'm going to play, but while I'm up here. On my previous video, I think I indicated that it was Wednesday. It's actually Thursday. It makes sense to me that I lost track of a day given the situations and whatnot. I'm not too concerned about it. And it does actually make a lot of sense to me because I knew that I had missed picking my garbage up from downstairs yesterday. But I should have gone out this morning and gotten the can up, and I did not. And by the time I was waking up, it was already turning dark. I don't feel like trying to haul it in the dark. It's not really hurting anything. But it means that tomorrow is my dance night, and I'm probably not gonna, I'm not gonna go shopping. Whether anything else happens, I don't know. But today was my last day to go shopping. All right, so let's get into this after I swap batteries. First thing in this little land scenario is to figure out how I'm going to utilize the victory conditions, or how I'm going to try to aim for them as the French. When does this start? It starts in July. So next turn is when I have to worry about the Turks possibly coming in. But the victory conditions, the cities aren't listed there. That's fucking stupid. Doesn't tell me where I get the points from there. It tells me over here, under what looks like alliance phase. So right now, I have Alexandria. That is worth a city point. I have to get, so the supply rules are an important part of this, which is, I have to get to Cairo, which I think is worth 2 points, and I think I need to get to Aswan as well. French forces are supplied from Cairo so long as one of two possible. Bonaparte is within one of Cairo, or Cairo is unbesieged, controlled by France, and Aswan is controlled by France. So I have to make my way all the way back to Aswan. Cairo, it's a long trip. But right now, my initial goal is to get to Cairo. I think I want to leave a strength point over here in Alexandria. And unfortunately, again, these look so tiny, like these little black dots. They just don't look that important the way they did in the old game. First turn, there's never any attrition. We use the normal sequence of play. There are no reinforcements this turn. So I think my goal is to hit this. Now we're looking at Murad and Ibrahim. Ibrahim has a decent strength of cav, but so does Murad. I got a bridge there so I can get in there fairly easily. So my movement doesn't require, well, actually, wow. I'm in supply for the first turn. What is this shit? I'm guessing it's swamp or something. Swamp. We got two different kinds of swamp. The Egyptian swamp and the Russian swamp, or European swamp. Why use two different things? Because it looks prettier. Again, the game made an attempt to look pretty rather than to be in, you know, the fertile area. I would not mind if that's kind of greener. It's got a -1. It's got 2 notes. Yeah, none of that is important. They go into so many of these notes. -1 is the smaller is attacked in, so the swamp gives a defensive benefit. We're only in supply this first turn. I think we have to take Cairo this turn. So that would mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd need a 3 hex increase to get there. The bridge doesn't help me in fighting. So again, we leave a strength point behind. We look. We could operate with two separate forces. Things are kind of complicated by this, but do I care about the 2 separate forces? I do for attrition, but that means I'd want to separate them out. So I don't think I want to particularly do that, although getting here might be useful, and I'd have 2 shots to get there. So let's look. We have 13 strength points. If I look at the attrition tables, that could break me. Yeah, I could get into a 7 and a 6 or something like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to... Oh, I have tons of commanders. I'm going to give de Saxe. I'll give him Kleber. I'll keep Lan. I'll break this up, and that'll give me 2 different forces that I can try and get down here with. Now, I think there were special rules for the Bonaparte counter in this, but I don't remember where they are. Now my key is the force march table, and I don't need those English dice anymore. I really should get some dice for the Turks. I need yellow for the Spaniards anyway. Okay, so what did I say? I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need +3. This is going to be for Napoleon. I have an all French unit bonus. So I roll a 2, I get my movement with Bonaparte, and he gets down here. It's not absolutely necessary for me to bring the other force in, because Bonaparte's going to define the combat, but I'm actually going to try to take those 3 movement points with them as well. That's a 3. I only get 2, and I get a loss on de Saxe. This loss will, I'm assuming it counts as an attrition loss. It's not actually attrition, it's forced march, but I'm going to put it in the replacement pool for that. And he only gets to here, which isn't very helpful, but like those extra 2 movement points, I could have just moved there without rolling. All right, especially knowing that I had made this here. Now I want to launch my attack on Murat. He could go into the city. If he goes into the city, it's no longer a field battle, it's just an assault. That means, I don't think that you can pull reinforcements into a city assault. And stacked with Bonaparte, I would get the extra morale point. So, we're going to go in. These dice are not quite the same color. Different sets. Napoleon has 7 strength points. Murat has 8. So we're at a 1-to-1. It's 2 dice for this. But we're at -3 for leadership. We don't get the terrain for this. We might have been better off staying out. We get a 4, which is a D1 and an S. A D1's enough that this just surrenders. And now we can move in. I got a bunch of leader loss checks to make as well. Similar to the naval rules, the captured rules for units is also somewhat disturbing. So if you capture a unit, you take it out of the enemy's force pool. But if you kill the unit, it is again returned to the force pool, and it can be rebuilt out of, younger men or whatever. Now, there's some argument that there's cadres, that there's, forces that are left that just need to be reorganized, or something that you could make about units dying. But, it feels like it's only a halfway argument, right? And that, units that are captured probably shouldn't reduce your force pool. On the other hand, The land force pools tend to be pretty large, and I'm not used to this game fully depleting the force pools in the grand campaign or whatever. So I'm a little less disturbed by it, but it is still between those two ideas. I'm a little less disturbed by the fact that forces can be pulled out of your force pool by being captured, and it becomes a worse result than destroying units. And you might have reasons for not repatriating, although I think you're probably forced to repatriate. I seem to remember this game requires you to repatriate. So if the enemy captures units, you have to make exchanges, which was common at the time. Nobody wanted to keep enemy units. But it does mean that those trained units come back and you get them. Anyway, that got me through the French phase. We're now in supply out of Cairo, which is vital. If we didn't get Cairo, Alexandria is not a supply source for us. So we'd be suffering worse attrition results due to that. What do we do with good old Ibrahim here? Well, he has 4 strength points. There's a strength point down in Damietta. I think we actually want to fall back on further back. What is our supply source for the Mamluks? Cairo, Aswan, El Arish, or any city in Syria. A city in Syria, Any unit in a hex with the Nile is supplied as long as Aswan's not occupied. This unit's not in supply, but that's not a big deal. It's too small. We have 4 movement points. We want to fall back towards Aswan. We're actually not in supply there. We got cut off because we're not adjacent to the Nile. So we do have, there's no attrition on the first turn. Excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to go to here, and we would want to go to here next, but I don't want to risk the 2-point force march. We'd be unsupplied at that point because we were at the start of our movement. And that gets us through the first turn of this. Now this triggers the Turks, who we will put here in Syria as possibly entering the game. And that is going to be covered in the alliance phase. There's no alliance phase prior to August. That's where we're going to be. A siege marker is placed and incremented to 2. A die is rolled, and the value of the siege marker Turkey becomes anti-French. So I'm going to put the Turkish dice here. Oddly, what is it? During the August anti-French alliance phase. Okay, so that's actually not going to come into play as the first part of the turn because the French don't have to roll for stuff in their alliance phase, and it's programmed to match that kind of thing. I'm going to stop at this point for a brief moment because got the other video loading, have my video game, which is absorbing too much time. I don't know how long it's going to keep my attention, but I'm much, much happier like not being committed to a single video game like I was with Raid for years. This one's not going to hold me that long. I enjoy certain aspects of it. I enjoy certain aspects of it better than Raid, but the whole thing was Raid was just eating up too much time. And I knew that if I fell behind, bad things would happen. This one, it's kind of like the last one, which I just uninstalled. I don't really care, you know. Part of what really hooked me into Raid was there was so much of a community around it, right? And so much information about how to play well and how to get away with stuff, you know, how to play without paying money and still make the events and do them well enough and everything. This one feels more like everything else that I've played, and I'm sure there are ways to game this better, but it's like there isn't going to be that kind of huge community as to how to figure that out. So I'm on my own figuring it out, and I'm enjoying it, yet not like feeling like, if I don't play, I'm going to fall behind and not get this great character. It kind of sucks because I have really cool characters in Ray. But issues that these newer rules have is that there's so many special, just for the scenarios, there's so many special cases in the scenarios to try to make them more interesting. I mean, that's cool and all, but I'm not really learning the game by playing something like this. I'm playing this special case scenario. Anyway, I got to look up the French supply rules again because they're weird, right? Cairo is unbesieged, controlled by France. And Aswan is no. So I have to keep Bonaparte within 1 hex of Cairo in order to maintain supply out of Cairo, because I don't have Aswan. Now, I could also, any unit within a hex of the Nile River on a hex is supplied as long as Cairo is unbesieged and controlled by France. So that's another option. But if at the start of any French attrition Cairo has fewer than 6, I have to roll a die and I might not be able to use, I have a 50-50 chance of using the Nile. Getting Aswan is important to me. I only need 1 extra movement point to get here, so that I can do. I have a decent sized force. Desax can bring the 6-point force that'll allow me to keep pushing on. But I have to worry about replacements. So when are we? We're not in October yet, so we don't get French ones. In Mamluk, reinforcements are there, replacements every month, so long as Aswan is not controlled. I should actually have a cav. That's replacements. So this turn I will get a cav back in Aswan. Again, you got to look up all these special cases and everything, and this is something you don't have to do in the Grand Campaign for the most part, right? You might have to look up rules, but it's just kind of painful, and there's so much busyness going on. Anyway, for this, what do I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, that's where I want to move. I'm guaranteed that. I'm French. So we'll do that. We'll just move Desax here because he has the 6 strength points I need. I need to hold this. I need to worry about other places I need to conquer, but Aswan is vital at this point. Among other things, I take Aswan, I stop the Mamluks from appearing, and I'm sorry about the shaking. I had a pot of coffee, well, what I call a pot of coffee now is really more like half a pot, but it's impacting me because I'm not. So I'm going to hit this. Now, the terrain effects for that shit is not good, I'm sure. It's only a 1-point hit. I'm with Bonaparte, so I have my full morale. So I'm at +3. And what did I have? I have 6 strength points again. I forgot to roll for attrition. Let's see about my attrition, because I might have wanted to do something a little different. My attrition roll is a 5, which is not good. It's French, so I would have lost a strength point off each. That's not great. That means the extra strength point that I had there is not really available. I don't get French replacements yet. I get them very, very seldomly. So this is what I'm going to continue doing. So I only have 5 strength points hitting his 4. That's going to be a 1-to-1. I'm larger though. I would be a +3, make it +2 for the swamp. I roll a nice big number. I get a 1d3. 5 is the smaller force. I lose 1. I'm going to kill 2 of theirs, and I force them to retreat. I have a chance to avoid my loss, which I do not accomplish. So this is a combat loss. It does not go into my replacement pool. I'm going to have to take some more strength points back. And again, special rules that are easy to forget, honestly. I took a casualty check, and I'm down to 1 according to this. Is that right? Yep. Oh, was I out? The opponent did not have more calf than me. They have the same amount after the battle. That's going to put us now to another special rule, which is the Turks coming in. Let's find them. That's way over here. I need a 1 or a 2 for the Turks to come into play. They come into play. So now, I don't know if we have a Turkey marker. We do. And they become anti-French. Doesn't really impact anything. City points, I gained Cairo. Cairo was worth 2. So this should be up to a 3. This is my victory points, so you know. It's only city points for victory, right? Yeah, so I don't, you know, these battles that I'm winning, they don't actually help me in any way. I don't get any glory out of this. Now I can start moving the Turks down, but I also get the replacement point from the Mamluks in Aswan. We're going to probably need to fall all the way back there. Things don't interfere, but actually I'm kind of, so I'm in danger of the 4-to-1 here. I don't want that. I don't know if I should just fall back on them there. But let's move the Turks forward. I got to check attrition. They got a 3. So they are subject. They don't have a very big army yet. No effect there. So I'm forgetting to do that, like, you know, they're not the game itself, but they're related. One is, I think I forgot to record this play. It's going to be my 3rd play. I like to do that. Helps me understand my existence better. But also, I keep forgetting to bring this thing down. Now, I haven't gotten to a point where I'd want to read it yet, but I think I'm going to get to one at some point. And I want to get through the campaign rolls. So I moved some Turks here. I moved this Caesar's forces down here. They're in supply. That's important. Turkish supply sources is a port city with a Turkish strength unit in it. Damietta is not a port city. Oh, interesting. The only port city is Alexandria. So unless I take Alexandria, I do not get any supplies in Egypt. I've got to trace all the way back. This guy collected up the additional forces. I'm going to need to drop him off at Gaza and whatnot in order to continue forcing things forward. But I have a couple of options. I have the option of going for Alexandria. I have the option of attacking at Cairo, all kind of stuff there. This guy could probably get as far as here. I'm not really sure what use I have for any of this. I could get to here without any problem. Like, if I'm here, what does that mean for the French? Not a whole hell of a lot. But they might want to stomp me, and that would be a problem. See, this is a 2-point attrition check, or a forced march check, which is not cool. The size of your force doesn't matter for forced marches, which I think is kind of annoying. I think going back to here is probably my best move. That's one extra movement point that I need, which is pretty easy to get. We'll flee back to there. And that puts us to the end of the turn there. And we break for a bit, and I try to remember what things do I have to do. I have to bring that down. Now I don't remember the other. Oh yeah, mark the play. This is very much, I don't know, one of those little small type scenarios where lots of victory points need to be accumulated, whatever. I threw down some tiddlywinks to help me keep track of it, because I can't keep it in my head. But it is pretty clear. The stuff in Syria is important, but I can't really operate until I take Aswan. And that's kind of the problem. I have to make my attrition roll. Right now I'm in supply because Cairo is still at 6 strength points, but the attrition roll is not good. A 5 goes down to a 4. That means I'm going to lose a strength point off of each. I'll do that this way. For Bonaparte, he's down to 4 strength points, and then this is... Oh. Actually, I was lower. Hold on. That means a 50-50 chance of being out of supply. I think I'm good. This has to lose as well. I thought I had 6 strength points still down there in Cairo. Cairo may not be that important at this point then. I might want to launch. Oops. And turn that around. You know what's happening? This little bar up on the top is confusing me, because usually symbols like that are towards the bottom of counters, and it's regularly confused me and thought counters that have it are upside down. I don't know. Just personal. Yeah, I may want to go grab Damietta before things get ugly. Here, I can march down 2, 4, 6, or to here if I want to risk it. I feel like I have to get as far as I can. The river line and the swamp between them cancel out most of my advantages, but I have a big numerical advantage, which means I'm okay. I have that 3-to-1, or actually 4-to-1, which means I could overrun. So 2, 4, 6, we'll try to go to there. And this is forced march. We have a -1 for being French. We only get 2 movement points, and we lose another strength point, which would have been an issue. I like to have counters face up when possible. the slickery counters fall very easily. So 2-4, I can't go any further. I think I'm fine there. Damietta I can get to easily. The Sax will only have a 2-1 attack, but he's pretty decent. So I'm going to head down to here. They're probably going to take this as a siege, if they can. And that means I'm... Well, see, they give up the swamp, but it's only a 1. That means I have 2-2. That's 1-1. I don't have a morale bonus, but I do have a +2 leader bonus. A 10, 1d1. We're each going to lose a strength point, but we take it. And I make a leader loss check, of course. Mamluks, they get another strength point. Actually, that happens after their attrition check, which should be just fine. That takes me out to like 16 or 15 strength points. Whoa. I don't know which way that is. I think it's 11 to 15. Jeezer makes it up into a location where he can get 3-1. Again, I'm wondering, is 3-1 something important? You seem to think it is. And unfortunately, there's no notes. There's a lot of space. They could have put some, although that would be distracting, but one the same as the overrun rolls. I'm so confused because of Onward Christian Soldiers having the 3-1 special roll. Jeezer is going to try to attack. Now, the Sax may want to fight this. I'm not sure. He's looking at, let's say, 3-1 gets me on the 2-1 table. I'd be at -2 on that. The average would be we each lose 1. That doesn't seem worth it. However, taking a siege sucks. And Jeezer's going to do that. Oh, he's out of supply if he does that. That's icky. Huh. Oh, this will have gotten back here. Gosh. Do I want to attack? We'll take our chance. We have to be in supply in order to siege, I believe. But that means we have a 1 in 6 chance of just capturing this, and that would get rid of the leaders, so that's pretty cool. The other option would be to leave myself flexible so I can go take Cairo for whatever that's worth. Roll into September, still no French replacement points yet. I'm thinking about my life. I'm thinking about whether I want to go dancing. I guess tonight is what it is. Because it's the day before Valentine's Day. I'm worried that the whole vibe will be kind of weird. It's the 2 DJs that I'm least interested in going to see. Although it's, it's not like that's a big deal. It's just, and it might be really, really crowded. That's part of what I'm worried about vibe-wise. It's already pretty crowded because students are back and everything. And with, me still being kind of sick, although I'm going to be sick for another month probably, and everything, not getting anything done and whatnot, but I don't know. It's just, I guess we'll see what the game drops on me, because it should be doing a big drop at some point in terms of the like Raid, it switches over on the day that, always on Fridays. Anyway, for the French, I need to take Aswan. If I don't take Aswan, I'm in trouble. First thing I have is I have to make that check to see if I get the Cairo supplies. I am out of supply this time. And then my attrition roll, and I'm running out of troops too, is a 4, which is not great, which drops me down to a 3. I think I'm okay because I have no troops left. It has enough strength points that he can reasonably hit this. I can't really afford. I have to go into hiding. Now that drops it to a 1 to 2, or 2 to 1, which gives me a -2 on that. I'm going to go for it. Right? Or am I going to siege? Fucked if I know. See, I'm going to wear out of troops. Oh no, I have... it's not 1 to 2, is it? I have... might be less than that. I have 4. They have 6, so it's the 3 to 2. And I would be at -2. I'm going to go for the attack. So I need to get things moving. That's a good roll. We get a D1 and a 1. Smaller force is a 3. That's going to be 1 each, but these guys surrender. A major impact. I got something else to talk about with other things. Oh, fuck. Who did I put up there? Napoleon, or Bonaparte, if you want to call him that, was wounded for 5 turns. That may be the end of the road here, simply because the Saxe is over here under siege. Laon doesn't have a lot of troops. The Turks should be able to wear me down. On the bright side... so anyway, I was thinking Bonaparte will be in France. That's another point, I think, but I'm not sure if it is. There were 2 extra points in the campaign game, and I think the Bonaparte back in France was part of the optional rules thing. So, because one was Malta, and I think the other is down there. I was thinking, no, I get to go back to France. Yeah, but there's a lot of game to go. And I'm not getting any reinforcements, and the Turks definitely are. Right now I have 4 victory points. I'm not going to be able to hold them. The French army is going to be destroyed relatively quickly. And the Saxe definitely doesn't want to come out and fight in the swamp. So that's all pretty bad. This is pretty much over. So this is the situation. Leader A has marched down to Cairo and is attacking that. Now, what do the French want to do? If they fight, they get the -1 from the swamp, but they're facing 3 to 1 odds. And again, my head says 3 to 1. Is that the problem? Because the thing is, the chart only allows 2 to 1. It's really 2 to 1 up to 4 to 1. And it really should say that somehow, or there should be something to indicate that special 4 to 1 case. Just because it's just, I don't know. Anyway. 2 to 1 at a grand total of -1 does not sound particularly good. So I'm going into the thing. Oh, I didn't roll attrition. There actually is some chance of some. Yeah, there was a point of attrition. So leader A is only 2 at this point. I don't know if Turks... they don't have any replacements, do they? They don't have any replacements. So I can shift this into play. And Now, still at 2-1, so they will still go in. Now, we're going to assault. There's a fort marker there, I just haven't placed it. It kind of doesn't matter. It's no mods on an assault, because the French aren't any better. We get a 6, which means both lose 1, and we take it. Maybe French strength points that lose a combat strength of 1 or more strength points do not automatically lose them. Forgot about that. We have to roll a 5 or greater to survive. We don't. So this is destroyed, and it does not go into my replacements because it's not attrition, which is special for this. We take that. These are out of supply now, and things look really, really ugly for the French. Turn Lannes has 3 strength points, so there is still an attrition check. The Sacs can't be impacted. Oh, I forgot to increment this and see if they take it. But this game is over. We're not attritioned. We can move four movement points for free without a risk. So we'll go there, but ooh, we can make it 5 for the Cav. And now we're no longer subject to attrition. Now on the Muslim side of things, Mamluks get reinforcements. They don't get their replacements, obviously, but their reinforcements are at Aswan, Hassan Bey, and Fort Cav. Normally these would just be deleted. I'm going to just push them forward. If Aswan ever falls, it would make sense that they would come back, but they can't reinforce into there while I'm holding Aswan. I've disrupted things enough. Guess we go to attrition for the Muslims. And they're just peachy keen. And I'm going to sit as I am and just take the siege roll, which again doesn't happen. Moves back down, collecting up his cav to attack Cairo. That's leader A there. He's only 1 strength point. He's going to go in. This makes it a 3-2. A +2. And again, I'm not putting the marker down when it's briefly there. +2. That's only a 5. Each takes 1, but that's enough to get rid of, regain control of Cairo. Oh, might not lose him. Might not lose him. I have Lannes there, so actually I do not. And we're reestablished, back in supply, but with basically no troops. And this goes back here. However, Hassan can't come in. I don't have attrition. I siege the Sacs. And we still don't get him. I feel like I screwed up, and that should be higher, and I probably should have taken it, but whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did miss this. Okay, so the Sacs is captured. I'm not trying to cheat here, man. Just getting, okay. That means the Sacs is gone. These things, there's nothing. So is the Keebler Elf. And this troop is gone. He doesn't have a chance of surviving a siege surrender. And that puts me forward to the next turn where there looks like there's something coming in. I think that's Turkish fleets, which don't matter. I actually have an additional leader on the board because the French lost Bonaparte. The Turks lost Ibrahim. They should have gotten one, but he just came back. I'm just thinking I should have a 1-point leader. If I need one, I can put it, but, well, I'll hunt it down and get it for Desax. Desax right now is vulnerable to attrition, correct? No, because he's at, well, he's vulnerable to the possibility of plague. He doesn't get it. We're on Lon here. He's only got 3 strength points of units. I'm going to dispatch Murat out here. Alexandria is not that important to me. I own it, and I think I'm going to need troops. Murat's not very good. I thought he was a 2-point in the original. I can't find him. Huh. Oh, there he is. He's below the 2-leader A's. Wow, that's... no wonder I couldn't find him. Okay. And meanwhile, Lon, I cannot leave. It's October. I get a strength point of replacement. Where do I get it? I don't know. At Cairo. Excellent. I need this. And now I can march down to here, and I can attack Leader A. Leader A is in the swamp. I've got 3-1 against him. At +2. I get an 11. 11 doesn't prevent me from losing anything, but it does wipe out the enemy. Once again, I get a saving throw, and it works. Good old Leader D behind with my strength point, because I need this for supplies into this hex. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Although I actually don't need supplies if I'm size 2. That is going to be putting it on. What the hell is this? Oh, this is Hassan still. Yeah. I don't have any attrition possible for the Turks. I don't know what the Turks can do. They've got basically 3 strength points spread out, and not a lot I can do with them. Lon might be able to make it all the way to Acre, for whatever it's worth, but there are a lot of reinforcements due. El Arish, Gaza, Jaffa, Jerusalem, or Acre. I got to take everything by May 1799, or shit starts getting real. Yeah. And there's still the naval invasion that the Turks are going to have. Anyway, the Turks are done with their turn. They're just going to sit there. And that moves us over here. That's Hassan again. And we move the game year up to 1799. And we are going to break so that I can take a little bit of my video game in. So here we are in January. This is, I think, not a French replacement turn. Last turn was. Fuck. I think we're right. I don't. Again, the timing for these, I should have little markers all over the fucking place. So February is one. Because I think I picked someone up on the way through here. I do have to roll for attrition, even though no French force is so small that it's an issue. if I roll, or no French force is large enough that it's an issue. If I roll a 6, I still have plague to deal with anywhere along the Nile. All right, now I have to try and figure out how I'm going to advance. Damietta is not that important to me. What's important is grabbing these, so that's what I'm going to move for. Normally, you wouldn't want to throw your units out of supply, but similar to like the Mexican War situation, where Winfield Scott basically cut his supply train or his supply lines and just marched overland. I'm in a situation where that would make sense. The effects of being out of supply, I looked up here, the forces are halved. I don't see anything about preventing a siege, but I thought that was the case. And we got all the information about who owns what fortresses, which seems like a weird thing to have here, but it is no, it's fortresses and sieges. I mean, I don't know. Strength to besiege. I don't see anything where I require, during attrition, no. I don't see anything that requires that I actually have a supply line for the siege. I could see an argument that I had to, and I thought it was the case, but it doesn't appear to be. Which means I may want to cut my supplies, because I can't keep them all the way, and I won't be able to take shit if I can't. I've got Lon, I've got Marat somewhere, and Leader D somewhere. Marat's here. Why did I send him there? I think so he could shift another strength point. That was thinking that I needed the sieges, but I needed the supply line, but I also do need other things. What other things? I need to be able to garrison these. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. This is what I set up with. I abandoned Alexandria, which has its issues. But I can supply out of Cairo, which is what's important. And I actually am in supply right now. Lon attacking this, they're going to go inside, because otherwise I can do the double tricky thing. And I can't actually, I don't know. It makes sense that I'd be able to do it. So Lon is making the attack. I'll try to bring Leader D in. I can bring him in as well, which means I have 3 strength points against 2. And I think we have it this way. 3 to 2, +1 or +2 for Lon. I get a 10, but again, I'm going to suffer because I always take at least 1 loss if I have to fight. I take the hex. Lon's at +2. That gets me that. Turks, what can I do? Honestly, I can't think of much. Like, I'm going to get swept out of the Near East, However, I have my naval force. That is the one special rule, this amphibious invasion. I don't need anything for this. This basically requires the French to defend Alexandria. What about other Turkish reinforcements? Are there any? April, I get a pile of troops. I don't need anything for them. Yeah, I'm fucked. All right. Lon is trying to do the vainglorious thing here, but it can't be succeeded at. You really need... This is, I think, an impossible scenario for the French to win, basically, which is okay. It does let me play around with some stuff. It means is, like the advanced scenario for the Italian campaign, which was an interesting campaign in and of itself, right? This is completely unbalanced, but unlike that, this is unbalanced in both versions. And the sea thing makes it worse because France wasn't even able to get there and probably won't be able to. But the Egyptian campaign is just really, really rough on them. So, the Turks aren't doing anything. New turn. There's no attrition. I get bony parts back, but leader D is going to disappear off the map because he was the replacement. This isn't specified, so I don't know. Maybe you just always keep the leaders that you get from this, but it means you'll have a lot of 0-point leaders, but also your 1-point leaders on the board for most of the grand campaign. For something like this, it's not that big a deal that I have an extra leader, but it feels kind of ridiculous if I am generating so many leaders just by being wounded. What is the French goal now? Well, I could move Marat as far as here. That would allow me to hold Al-Arish and still have supplies running elsewhere. I think being in supply seems like a good idea, especially since he left this out here. If he'd fallen back further, then I couldn't maintain the supply line. The positioning we're in, Napoleon's going to attack this. They're going to go in. That makes it a 1-to-1 attack, but now I'm at +3. Again, though, I lose a strength point. I wouldn't lose a strength point if I besiege, but that's okay. +3, 9. See, I'm in a hurry. Oh, I get a good result. I get a 0. Those are really unlikely. So I actually end up defeating this safely. So now my goal, just going to stay here at Damietta, it doesn't feel like I can do anything too exciting, is going to be, although I could make a rush for Alexandria, but my goal is going to be to gather these up and capture them, which I think I can do before the fleet comes, but also cut my supply lines, run Murat back towards Alexandretta, maybe run Lon back there, run Murat down here to try to get this extra strength point up there. It was kind of a mistake to leave that there. I had a control, I didn't need to garrison it. This is down to how many strength points can I fight off the Turkish invasion with. It's not. I forgot about 14 strength points coming in here. I'd have to cover all of these to prevent that from coming in. Yeah, I'm just fucked. I thought I had the answer for a moment there. And started moving stuff. I've got attrition problems. Oh, these guys can't take attrition from the plague. You still have to take it on the attrition table. Yeah, I don't have to roll at all. Napoleon sent his cav up there and down, ran up to Acre, took it. Murat left his unit and ran as fast as he could. Lon is going to come down 1, 2. I can pick things up without having to stop and roll again or anything. Where is Lon? This is February. Oh, last turn was February. I have an extra strength point here. Out of my losses. What did I say? 1, 2, pick up 3. I can move a 4th without it being a problem. That's where we are. Next turn, I get another replacement in Cairo, so I'm gathering up forces. I'm going to throw everything I can into Alexandria because that's of vital importance. But Cairo is dangerous. I do have to get a garrison down there. And of course, the force coming here is just going to wipe me. Actually, it can overrun me. Oh boy. Susceptible to attrition this turn. And we get hit. None of it affects us. Hey, we're French. We're still not going to be affected. Screw you. We have doctors. Okay. So here's the situation. That big force is coming in this turn. I can't stay and face it. I have to gather my army to be able to handle it. Yes, I could just leave Bonaparte up here and he could be besieged, but then he will surrender eventually. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's... We gotta try for further. We gotta fall back further than that. We're gonna, instead of one extra movement point, we're gonna go for 2. We get it. I think we want to be an Al-Arish. I don't know. It forces him to force march if he wants to catch us. Marat, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's not going to be able to pick anything up. He's not going to be able to continue moving. This was a mistake that this strength point wasn't there. Where is Marat? He's somewhere stupid. Okay, we remember that forever. Here, 1, 2 pickup, 3, 4, and that is Lannes, who actually has a decent sized force at this point. Okay, and now we hit the Turkish reinforcements. Any hex north that does not, it's Abdullah with 14 infantry. Start off by just grabbing Acre. We're going to need a control marker for the French, because we're going to ignore one of the French locations here. And we're going to try to get 1 extra movement point out of him, which we don't get. 1, 2, 3. These have all fallen. This is still French for victory points if it matters, but we're trying to push things as hard as we can. We have more forces coming in May. If at least one of these is not controlled, an extra 7 infantry can be put in them. El Arish, Gaza, Jaffa, Jerusalem, or Acre. Oh, he can't control 14. How about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll send a couple of leaders up here. The remainder of his force is going to be still up in Acre. Don't see how the French can hold out. That puts it on the French again. I don't know if I have to roll for attrition. Probably not, but that's fine. Do we try to fight this? I actually think that might be my best move. Does Cairo require a unit for supply? I know it does. Controlled by France, and Aswan is controlled by French. Yeah, okay. I can use Cairo as a supply source still. So I think I'm going to try to shift everything down to try to beat Abdallah. I take this out because then the Turks, well, the Mamluks could slip in there 2, 3, 4 up to there. I could have a unit here. And Lannes could be in charge of that, actually. Because he shipped troops forward, he could have done this. That allows him to be used as a reinforcement. Not with a lot, but... Okay, Lannes should be up with the 2-pointers, right? Fuck. Okay, Bonaparte. Yeah, that's what went wrong. Okay. And that puts us back. We're going to associate as many troops as we can, some that Abdallah can pick up. He has an extra leader with him and some that this guy can move. I am actually in supply running up from here. I'm going to have to start worrying about supply lines very shortly. We have to worry about our attrition, and we take one. Okay, what are those? I already pulled the 7 in. I think I left them up here. Okay, yeah. The 7 reinforcements are already on the board, so that's not an issue. All right, so the Turks have pulled out of Damietta. I'm putting French control markers on everything at this point because it's kind of necessary. We have a supply line running down. We're going to try to attack Bonaparte here. He can't bring reinforcements in right away. He can't run away. He's not in a city or anything like that. So he is facing Abdallah, who has 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 17. He does not have Ibrahim with him. 17 to Bonaparte's 6. Not quite 3 to 1. So we're at -3 on the 2 to 1 table trying to attack. That gives me a 4, which is a 1 each. What was he at? 6. Oh, he could have hit him with Cav too. I didn't choose to. It would have been really useful here because that would have gotten me to the 1-0, which is not bad at all. Let's say he did, because he might have. 4 is the most you can get on an advantage. So we had, how many strength points as the minor? It was 6. We kill 1 of Ibrahim's units. And now we can fall back. Not Ibrahim. Abdallah's units. Now we can fall back, or we can try to bring reinforcements in. Ibrahim still has good odds. But they could, or I'm sorry, Abdallah still has good odds. They could get better, is the problem. So I'm going to try to bring Lan in. We do. He joins the battle. He actually has to join Napoleon here. So Napoleon's now at 7. And I don't remember what he was at. 7. 16. So it's still the 2 to 1 chart. I can throw the Cav in again to bring it to -4. Whoa! I don't think it can shift down into these asterisks. Modified die roll of less than 2 is treated as 2. So I get a D1-1. We were at 7. A D1 is 2 hits. A 1 is 1. And that means Ibrahim has to retreat. I don't know. Might as well. Oh, damn it, not Ibrahim. Now, Alexandria, not Alexandretta, is open for the invasion that's happening next turn. Murat's not going to be able to make it down in time, but maybe I can pick this off with some additional fighting. You know, I'm hoping for the best, but the best doesn't appear possible. Hey, I had more Cav. I cause additional losses to them for the Cav pursuit. Damned if I know where that is. Is that an optional rule? Cav charge is, and not this other thing. Yeah, I got to find I got to dig through here to try to find where the pursuit with additional cav is. Get another replacement point this turn. Now here's where the problem is. This is why I want it to be back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. Any possibility of attrition? Yes, because Napoleon, no. Right? He doesn't have 6 units. He could have not advanced as much as he wanted. He has 2, 4, 6, 7. That's fine. He doesn't have more than this. Oh, wait. 6 to 10. 6 to 10 is no good. I had to leave a couple of strength points back here with Lon to avoid taking attrition. Don't want to do that. Now I can combine. That's not a problem. I can try to do that special maneuver, which is even more exciting. So I think my movement is 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't care about supplies. 1, 2, 1. Like that. Could he do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I'm not willing to risk it. It's too important to be where I am. And we try to bring Lon in a surrounding. We got it. That gives us an additional +1, so we don't have to throw our cav in this time. What is our strength? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To 13, that's not going to be 2 to 1, it's going to be a 3 to 2 now. And we are going to be at -2, -3. Lon joins me. That throws me out of supply. Fuck. And it's 2 to 1 if I leave the unit behind. I leave the unit behind. That throws me out of supply. Or doesn't throw me out of supply. It gives me 2 to 1. But I've got the -4 without the cav. Nine gets me to 5. We each take 1. That's not going to be particularly good. I think my strength is 6. That is 1 hit on each. 1 actual hit, but the French get to try to avoid their hit. They succeed. Ibrahim, I guess, can fall there and is no longer in combat. I'm sorry, not Ibrahim, Abdallah. Ibrahim could try to enter this combat, but I'm going to retreat instead. But I take another hit due to the cav pursuit. And Napoleon can push over there, giving himself support from that unit if need be. And now, we are at the Turkish amphibious invasion. Mustafa with 6 infantry, no further than 3 from Alexandria. I can take Alexandria for free, and it becomes a supply source for me, which means I come from behind. This is what we see here. But Mustafa. 6 is not all that much, but it's enough to take Cairo. And here's the thing. I don't know what I was going to say. Yeah, I remember there was a rule that allowed for an additional 6 to appear. It's not in the base game. I'm assuming it was in the optional rules. I don't know. I can't find it here. Oh yeah, here it is. If the non-French player gains a Turkish supply source, on the next reinforcement phase he gets the following Turkish forces, another 6 infantry. That's enough to cause serious, serious problems. Yeah. And that puts it on the French, and I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know what they're going to do. I'm trying the best I can. At this point, the best thing I could do is if I could fight this, but I'm too far up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could make it on a big-ass force march. That may be my only chance. I'm going to break and think about it. And, yeah, it's getting rather late. Like, getting close to when at least my body's telling me I'm tired. And I have thoughts of, I'd like to get this scenario, at least, it can't go on much more, right? I'd like to get this scenario completed before today, before I go to sleep, because I'm going to sleep until, probably when I have to start getting ready to go dancing. One thing that I was noting in my head, and this happens in a lot of games, where I'm like, maybe I overlook something or whatever, but I get really encouraged that somebody's got a chance to do something. Sometimes I swing back and forth as to who's going to win the scenario and whatnot, and I feel like I came close to that here. It's just a habit of mine. I get excited for, I don't know, neat things happening. Especially when they're not neat things because I fucked up the rules. All right, so, and I hope when I do the grain campaign, I don't do as much as I'm doing here. Do I have to worry about supplies? Well, first of all, February, April, June, it's July, and this is when the invasion happened. Oh no, the invasion happened. What is this shit here? This is the backup forces that come in if I hold Alexandria. So I have to take Alexandria this turn. I think that's pretty hard. But that's got to be where my goal is. All right, anyhow, I look at the French, and Napoleon has him, or Bonaparte, according to the counter, has enough forces I have to worry about potential attrition. It's on the 6 to 10, but I'm okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a +2 in my movement. I don't want to lose. I don't think the page mattered. I've got a -1 for being French. I get 4. That's not good. I only gain 1 extra movement point, and I end up with an attrition loss. The French army has gathered here in Cairo. This is not good. And now we still don't get these, but we get those 6 additional strength points. Which I can't use them all because I don't have the leadership. This is with Mustafa. It's up here. That gives him 2 that he's going to leave behind. Oh, before I get them, I have to roll for attrition. Oh, that can't be good. All right, so I had 6 there. I get 2, one of which was Cav. That's going to be the 2 extra strength points I had there. But I also have to worry Abdallah has 6. He also loses 2. I'm also going to have, I would have, what is it, plague? Is this over here? Oh, these are all kinds of options. Somewhere there was plague, and I can't find it now. Oh, fuck. What the hell, man? I know that there's a plague rule. Is it an optional rule? I can't find it. I gotta look for it. I'm italics. I skim right through it. It looks like one big paragraph to me. It's not sticking out enough. Okay, so nobody was adjacent to the Nile for them, so, which is what I thought was the case. To end this early, because I don't know, no great reason. I'm going to force march with Abdallah there. He needs 1 extra movement point, and I get to choose that before I make my decisions on other people where they're going to go. With a 4, he gets his movement point, so he can come 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to leave some sort of supply somewhere. 1, 2, 3. I leave it here. This is our current situation. I'm worried about Napoleon slipping through this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I probably should leave a strength point with Mustafa, off of Mustafa. Oh, that's a pain in the ass. Plus, yeah, I need it. I want it for supply. Actually, I almost am in supply across here. But let's say Abdallah here with 7 strength points, Mustafa with 10. Mustafa doesn't want to start the combat because he will be creating the -2 for the river. Napoleon is going to stand out and fight in the outside because he's good. So we got 10 strength points versus, and I may be screwing up with the Turks here. They may not want to attack. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strength points for Napoleon. 10 to 8 is just 1 to 1. I have 2, 3, and at least 4 off. So we end up on the 2 table with a D3 1. That's going to force the Turks back, and unless I can get a reinforcement. Now we were at 8 strength points for the smaller force, so it's 1 and 3. Let's make our saving throw. We succeed. Abdallah takes 3 hits. Pain in the ass. Playing with the options, if I don't fall back, he's going to be demoralized and he's going to start surrendering, which is a problem. I have, what do I get back there? That's just leaders, I think. This scenario will be a French victory. Oh, there I go again. I got like 5 strength points. What's up with that? September of 99. It should be 10 strength points actually. In Acre. Another line of troops coming. If I'm able to bring more in, That will help. Ibrahim has 3. That's not going to do it. Mustafa has 10, which will do it. I'm going to stick around. Let's do the check for Mustafa. He comes in. That gets rid of my demoralization. And Ibrahim does not. So now this is the battle. And there's no real easy way to handle this. I want to put a piece of string around the battle or something, you know, in order to define that this guy's not in it, these guys are. There's nothing really in the game that helps you handle that. It's fine in this tiny scenario, but if there are like battles all over the place and you're jumping from one to the other and then back, I think this is going to be obnoxious. I don't remember it being the case in the Grand Campaign under the old rules, and they're essentially the same. Because basically everything came down to one big battle in locations. Very much like it ends up happening in an area game like Empires in Arms, definitely happened in Nations in Arms, but this one is a little funkier. You could have little battles near each other. Anyway, we are now at, we don't get hit by the river even though we're crossing it, because this is the battle. It's those 2 hexes. Whatever comes from the other side doesn't matter. So it's 14. And what were we at? This is all in one space. It's just a mess. 5, 6, 7, 8. 14 to 8. That would be 7 to 4. That's a 3 to 2. At -4. Still a problem. That gets me a 3. That's a D1, enough to force them back again to a 1. That's 1 to 2. Let's see our saving throw. We make it. Oh, I guess I'll take them off Mustafa. I don't know, screw it. Let's let Abdullah take the hits here. And we are going to fall back this time. France has a cav, so I cause an additional hit. And we have leader loss checks and whatnot. And everybody retreats. That's the situation at the end of the turn. I decided to withdraw with all of them. Well, they're all demoralized. Anybody who stuck around was in trouble. That's going to push us over here. I thought this turn would be the end, but honestly, I'm beginning to think that the French have a shot at this, because there's no reinforcements. Actually, wait, we're almost at game end. Uh-oh. Yeah, but if we defeat the Turks, then we have a race from hell to make. Shit. And how do we do this? Like, the Turks can't beat us because we're too good, but we are facing 2 different directions. We can slip in behind here and cut his supplies and cause issues. But then our supplies would be cut as well, because we don't get an additional supply. We could surround him. Try to hold this with, like, you know, a strength point. Abdallah has, well, we have to face our attrition first. Oh, is this February, April, June, we get a reinforcement point? We're up to like 9 strength points now for Napoleon. If we can beat this, it'll run back. This would be able to reinforce into there. Mustafa still has his 10 strength points. That's the problem. To avoid 3 to 2, I think 7 strength points is good. So why don't we pull 7 with Napoleon? this? I don't know. Abdallah only has 4. We could basically wipe Abdallah out. The problem, of course, there is there's still going to be a big force coming down here. I'm not going to have time to get the victory points. Right now I'm at 3. 4. How about that? That's not too bad. Why don't we knock Abdallah out? I don't know. He's not that important. But we're not going to... We don't get a big pursuit like we do in some Napoleonic games. It's just a strength point, no matter how much cav you have, whatever. So I think picking this off is of some worth. We'd have 1, 2, 3 bonus. We take the cav. We don't want to use the cav because the cav gives us the charge bonus. Yeah, I think we come this way, and we want to make sure we have 7 strength points. Milan with a couple of strength points. I'm just going here. I could actually reinforce, but then that pulls me out of there, so that's no good. So I'm at 1 to 1. I have a -3 for morale and leadership, and I'm going to just go with that. I'm not going to throw the cav in. 3 is a D2 1. We were at 7. We take 1. We cause 3. We don't save our 1. Well, we not put these in the wrong leader. And that's a permanent death in that case. We cause 3, make it 4 because we have cav pursuit. He's going to run. And that puts him to 6. And then leader loss checks. Turks get a nice attrition number. That'll be fine for 4 or 6. We're not next to the river, so we don't have to worry. Troops don't come in yet. What do? We don't have a lot of troops. But we have Napoleon kind of pinned down. Mustafa has 6 strength points. I think we just fall back. The French have 4 victory points. What's 4 victory points for the victory conditions? 4 is a marginal victory. Napoleon could grab another one, but that might be hard. Alexandria is not that hard, though. To check attrition for the French, this is not a turn in which they get additional troops. It should be fine. I'd like to take Alexandria, leave Lan here. I could actually dispatch somebody. So I have 6 strength points. What do I need against Mustafa? Mustafa has 6. Fuck. That gives me a 1 to 2. That's... I can do that. Yeah, so I can't send strength points. So I'll go here. There's a point here I could get, but again, that then opens things up to Mustafa coming out. He goes in the fort. It's 1 to 2, but I'm at -3. I can't use the cav for this, I assume. Oh, that's not good. Okay, Napoleon takes a D1, and the smaller force would have been a 6. So that's 2 hits for Napoleon. He avoids one of the 2. and one hit for Mustafa. I'm at D1 now. Let's get that here. That's important because instead of the -3, I only have a -2 now. So Mustafa's at 10, and I am at 5. It would still be at 1 to 2. I am going to withdraw from the combat, and then we have leader loss checks. Take the Turkish attrition, which should be fine. And then we get those reinforcements which come in an acre, right? Yeah. And that's no matter what, which is to say, like, no, it's not. It's not no matter what. If the French had managed to hold Acre, it wouldn't be the case. And I'm looking at how powerful Napoleon is with an army against these Turks, and it's pretty potent. The problem is he can't defend against all sides. Looking at a marginal victory for the Turks as being acceptable, so I'm not going to push any further with anything. What about that 10 strength points? I'm okay with it being there. It gets me to 6 to 10. That's okay. So that's going to push to the next turn, and I don't know what the French can do. They have one turn to win the game on. I get the feeling it's going to be they're going to grab Damietta. We shall see, because Mustafa's... I have the advantage on Mustafa now, but he's a tough nut to crack. Both. I'm sending Napoleon down this way. Murat's going to come this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He needs 2 extra movement points. I got a reinforcement for this turn. At -1, 2, he makes it. So that gets us to our 4 victory points. 5. See, 4 doesn't really help me. Oh no, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, but that one can be easily taken. 2, 3, 4, 5. If I take Alexandria, that gets me to 6, but then I drop back down to 5, and I still end up in a minor loss. But I want to take Mustafa out. I don't want to besiege him because that's ugly. So we're once again at that 1 to 2 at -3. And it's again a bad result. 1 to 2. A 1D1. Smaller forces, 5 strength points now. That's a 1 to each. Napoleon has a chance to save, which he does. Mustafa is down to a 4. Not really caring about these Turks in terms of like keeping them in good order, because I don't think they're used in any other scenario. So now I'm at 8 to 5. That's a 3 to 2. I'm going to keep going. I'm at -2 instead of -3 now because I have a D1 on me. I'm getting some really... That's a 1-1. Napoleon gets his save. He makes it. Mustafa does not get a save. Now it's 5 to 6. That's 1 to 1 at -2. Starts getting better. That's a D1 there. Mustafa is going to surrender. Napoleon gets a chance at... He does not save. So he loses a strength point to death. And he's going to commit 1 strength point to taking this. I got leader loss check. So Napoleon has successfully taken Alexandria. Sorry. That puts him in a position where he's winning very briefly. Let's see what the Turks can take. I definitely want to move to take that. Their attrition first. A 2. That is not good if I have more than 10, but I don't think I have more than 10 anywhere. 2, 4, 5. Mustafa's gone. His forces surrendered. I'm wondering if I took from somewhere else, but I don't think so. Can't really use Ibrahim here because I need him for supplies. So I'm going to have to send somebody out from Abdallah. I'll send Mustafa out from him. That's 1, 2, 3. I need 4. I'm going to do this first because if I don't make the forced march, somebody else has to go take it. But I do make it. And now the French are no longer winning, or it's no longer a draw, whatever. And now it kind of doesn't matter. If I could take Cairo, that would win the game. I don't think I can, but we can see. 2, 3, 4. Right? Because then they'd be at 1, 2, 3, which is... No, 3 or 4 is the issue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we've got to take another. Jeez. Yeah, we got to take something to get to the marginal victory. And Murat's the easiest to beat up. So let's make sure we get him and get our marginal. For more than a marginal, because we were able to get the forced march here, so Abdallah forced over here successfully as well. This gives us 2 battles. Does Murat want to fight against leader B with his 10 strength points? No, he'll be overrun. It'll be the automatic, not the overrun, but because you can't overrun a city. So, yeah, 10, well, I didn't have the movement points to do it, because I'd have to move in and move back out as well. So 10 to 2, that gets me the 4 to 1, which means a D3 1. Successful. So we're gonna take Damietta. And here, Abdallah only has 4 to 2. That's 1 to 1. I'm not going to take that. I'm going to besiege him. Well, does Lan want to fight to avoid that? To avoid the chance of the siege? Lan would have, he'd be on the 2 to 1 chart with Lan at -3. I think the terrain's only worth 1. Stupid foldouts. Yeah. 2 to 1 at -3. That doesn't sound good to me. I think we put it on the siege. He's not going to be able to fight Lan on the siege, so he needs a 1 to take the city. The little marker would be on there. And he comes close. Technically, this is what it looks like. There's a fort here and this here. And again, we have not seen anyone build entrenchments. This might have been a scenario where they might happen if the Turks are trying to prevent things, give themselves some terrain advantage. And the French are at 2, 3, 4, which is, I believe, a tie. Nope. It's a marginal victory. 2, 3, 4. We took one, that's why. So that's that. This wasn't as ugly and unbalanced as I feared it was. If Bonaparte can get a pile of troops together so that he's not facing that like 4-1 odds for an overrun or an automatic victory or whatever. Oh, look, it's starting to be dawn. He can do quite a bit against the Turkish force. And now, there were battles like the Battle of Cairo where a humongous army was destroyed that would be well above that 4-1, but the game has basically said most of those troops were such garbage that they don't even count as troops in the game. So 80,000 something were just discounted and as just being valueless. So that's the way they pass off that the system, something that the system can't handle. Technically, what you would have had with a fight like that is an army. Well, technically, what you'd have is the army would have a zero morale, a huge zero morale force, but it would have that 4-1 odds, so it would get the D3-1 result. Well, D3 and 1 hit result against Napoleon and beat him. Because if you have that kind of numerical odds in the system, that's what happens. So they had to make special rules. They couldn't just make it a bunch of militia that would break after a round of combat, because there is no round of combat. Your morale doesn't matter if you have that kind of numbers. Anyway, that is the Egyptian campaign at land. Yay! We got through it. Next, we have the second Italian campaign, the Marengo. I'm going to call it the Marengo campaign, and then it's the Grand Campaign, and I'm working my way through the rules for it. Old Grand Campaign, over in the old War and Peace, had victory conditions which were very, very pleasing. They were like, okay, it's how many production cities you control as a ratio of how many you started with a few caveats. If France holds Paris, I think they win no matter what. It may just be the two-player scenario, but I think it's as long as France holds Paris, they win the game at the end of the game. If France isn't holding Paris at the end of the game, then it's the proportion of victory point cities you have, or production cities you have, which makes it relatively difficult for some countries to win the game. Spain only has one production city, but they can double their size just by taking Portugal or taking a French city. Things like Prussia and Austria have a fair number, but they're in Germany, and there's a lot available there. Russia has 3 or 4. I think it has 3. They could get Sweden maybe, and maybe some stuff in Germany if they're lucky, or French cities. But it's really tough for them to get their multiple. And in fact, Prussia may be the easiest to win with, just because Spain's stuck not being able to reach much. Although if France is falling, they can probably grab cities in France, and I think those count. England has a really hard time because they have I think 3. Maybe it's only 2. Maybe they just have London and Portsmouth. And again, unless they're sitting on stuff, but if they can get Hanover and Holland and stuff, it does work out. So it actually kind of works out in terms of the pure victory conditions thing. It's just, it can create some very ahistorical play in terms of, just like Empires in Arms does, in terms of people trying to seize stuff by becoming pro-French. The grand campaign for this is really trying to script things a little bit more with the victory conditions, which in and of itself I feel probably is okay, but the way they do it is just really, really like, I don't know. It's very specific and very complex, you know. So it's got things to do with, like, if Austria has surrendered 2 times and X, Y, and Z are the case, and I'm not sure what, you know, it could be multiple countries can win and whatever, but it's like you have to force people to surrender a certain number of times and stuff like that to get the victories. And it's just really, really annoying, like, what all the different conditions are for each country. They're designed to create a historical outcome, you know, so players move towards the historical actions instead of the really kind of less like, people end up being pro-French too often under the original. Now, the 2-player game would seem pretty exciting, except because it really is a two-sided struggle with, like, you know, between England and France, with these other powers being brought in through the diplomacy. The unfortunate thing with that is, as France starts gathering up minor conglomerates, and that seems to be the case in this one too, it has the same diplomacy roles, they're able to pull Prussia, Austria, Russia, whatever, into their support network. And so if you're playing, you know, the non-multiplayer game, it's pretty hard to beat France. I don't think there's any requirement that they have to conquer Russia. And that really is where, like, if the game doesn't require you to take Spain and Russia, it has to have some kind of other mechanisms in play to make things a little different. Now, Empires in Arms doesn't require you to take Russia, but you also don't have to just hold Paris at the end of the game. You have to dominate, you know, the glory throughout the game, as it were, and collect a lot of points, and still have a lot of land under your control in order to get a victory. It has its own kind of difficult to assess victory conditions, but you can figure out certain stuff about it. And given that you've been in Empires in Arms, it's all very, very weird there. All right. That battery isn't charging. This one is going up. For real this time.